data types of data. Yes, every data that you have can be of various type. We discussed in if you look at the introduction to data analysis video, you discover that in that video we talked about data, and then this data can be numbers, can be text, can be letters, can be, so this made us to have various categories of data. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to understand the types of data, the difference between a qualitative data and the quantitative data, understand structured data and unstructured data, then identify real life examples, then recognize where data types are used. Alright, so what are data types? That's the first thing. So data types refers to the different various categories of forms in which data exists. That's how does the data exist. That is what data type is talking about. So we know that data can be what? They can be numbers, they can be words, they can be pictures, they can be videos, they can be sounds, they can be ratings, and they can be transactions. All of these do not mean the same thing. That's why a good data analyst has to understand what data types are, so that you can know how to classify a data that is given to you. All right. Understanding data types helps analysts know how to organize data, how to analyze data, and what tools to use. So when you understand data types, it helps you as a data analyst to do what? To know how to organize your data, to know how to analyze your data, and to know what tool you are expected to use. Now, the first type of data we're looking at is qualitative data. What does qualitative data mean? Qualitative data refers to descriptive data that cannot usually be measured with numbers. So most times qualitative data are not measured with numbers. That is, if you look at it qualitative, that is something that qualifies. You get it qualifies. And if you look at qualifying, it doesn't have to do with number. For example, it represents qualities, characteristics, categories, or labels. Example, gender. Gender cannot be a number. You understand? So gender cannot be a number. We have male or female. Religion, we have Christian, Muslim, Islamic, and other religion, Judaism, Buddhism, and all of this. Eye color, yeah, some persons' eye color are white, some are black, some are red, some are pink. So it's to just let us know that this eye color will not give us a numerical value. Marital status, you can be single, you can be married, you can be divorced, you can be a widow, and so on. These kind of values don't give you a number. That is qualitative data. Yes, what are the types of qualitative data? So qualitative data is of two types. Number one is nominal data, and number two is ordinal data. So when we talk about nominal data, we are talking about categories without order. So a situation whereby they are not ordered. For example, gender, male is not greater than female, female is not greater than male. So there is no particular order. Religion, Christian is not greater than Muslim, Muslim is not greater than Christian. So there is no particular order to which the data exists. That is a nominal data. Then an ordinal data, when we are talking about ordinal data, this refers to categories with order or ranking. Example, first, second, third. First is greater than second, greater than what? Third. Excellent, good, fair, poor. When you are using this data, excellent is greater than good, greater than fair, greater than poor. For example, you are marking a student's work. If you give a child excellent and you give another child good, the one you give excellent have this sense of hierarchy, like I'm higher than the person that got good. Do you understand why? Because that data is an ordinal data. Those two qualitative words, they have order. One is greater than the other. All right. So now the next data type that we'll be looking at is quantitative data. Quantitative, if you look at it, quantity, this one refers to numerical data that can be measured or counted. So this one are data that can come in form of numbers. They can be counted, they can be quantified. Example, age. Yes, when you celebrate your birthday, you can say I'm now 30 years, I'm now 24 years, I'm now 21 years. You can count it. Salary is a figure you can count. Height, weight, student scores, number of customers, monthly income, sales revenue. These are examples of quantitative data. Now, types of quantitative data. Types of quantitative data. Number one, discrete data. Discrete data. That's number one type of quantitative data. And the next one is continuous data. So let us look, what does discrete data means? This refers to countable numbers. Countable numbers. Example, number of students. So the number of students can be 7, can be 10, can be 12. Number of cars. So they can be countable. They can be countable, like you can count them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and separate them like that. Unlike continuous data, this refers to measurable values. Now, height. Your height, by the time you measure your height can be maybe let's say 181.25 centimeter. Do you understand? So there is possibility that somebody can be 181.25, another person is 181.26. Now the 0.26 is greater than the 0.25. Do you understand? Unlike discrete data, let's just say discrete data now, students cannot be halved. You can't have number of students in a class, then you have 3.5. Where did the 0.5 come from? You understand? So number of students in a class, you count them as a whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are not measured, but for continuous data, they are measured. And the funny thing is, they can contain decimals. Since they are measured, it means automatically they can contain decimals. Yes. So now the next data type we'll be looking at is structured data. Structured data. Now, structured data refers to organized data arranged in rows and columns. Now, when data has been organized, we call it a structured data. It is easy to store, it is easy to search, it is easy to filter, and it is easy to analyze. Example of a structured data is Excel tables. Now, that's an Excel table that you have input the data correctly and everything is well clean and organized. That becomes a structured data. And that is student record. Yes, all of this, sales spreadsheet, attendance sheet, databases, all of this can be a structured data when they have been what? Organized. So structured data refers to what? Organized data that have been arranged in what? Rows and columns. All right. The next one is unstructured data. Unstructured data refers to data without a fixed format. So there is no format to which data comes. Examples: video, images, voice notes. There is no specific, we don't have a specific structure. We cannot put it in tabular form except we pick maybe the video title, put it on. For example, you can create a column on your Excel sheet and say, okay, video title, put all the video title, then the video link. You understand? It's possible. But aside that, we have something like aside having something like that, video on its own is an unstructured data. Images, they are unstructured data. Voice notes, emails, social media comments, they are unstructured data. So TikTok videos, YouTube comments, voice recordings are all data, but they are harder to organize into rows and column. You can't take TikTok video now and organize it into a row and a column, except you are picking, maybe you are extracting the data and organizing it in an Excel sheet. All right, so we are look at this data now. Is this an activity for you? So look at this data. You can pause this video and just classify this data by yourself. Classify the following data to their data type. So gender, let's look at it now. Gender, salary, WhatsApp chat, student score, Excel table, height. Now tell us, what type of data do all of these belong to? All right, so looking at it now, we see that gender becomes what? A qualitative data. And what type of qualitative data? Nominal, because it is not ordered. It doesn't have hierarchy. There is no one that is greater than the other. Male is not greater than female, female is not greater than male. The next one, salary, is a quantitative data. It's a quantitative data. Why? Because it is a quantitative data because it contains number, and it contains countable numbers, which is what? A discrete data. WhatsApp chat is an unstructured data. Student score is a quantitative data that is discrete. Excel table is a structured data, and height is a quantitative data that is continuous. All right, so this is your practical task, your own practical task for your own personal um learning. So you create a table containing 5 examples of qualitative data, 5 examples of quantitative data, 3 examples of structured data, 3 examples of unstructured data. So you can just have a table, or maybe create an Excel table, or anyhow you feel best to do it. Just create a table and maybe the first row you can say qualitative data, you have 5 contents there. Quantitative data, you have 5 content there. Structured data, you have 5 contents. Unstructured data, you have 5 contents. So I can advise that you do it in such a way that you don't use the data that have been used in this video. You can think, research, and get new data sets for yourself. So with this, we've come to the end of this lesson. So why not subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and if they are helpful to you, you can as well share the content to as many persons as possible. Thank you. See you next time.